What's up, everybody? Dark Cosmic here, back with another astrology video. Today, I would like to talk about having your Mars in the fourth house. So, what is this placement like? Um, this placement is very similar to having Mars in Cancer. It's not the same thing, but it is similar. I like to, you know, explain that further because a lot of people, they'll complain and say, it's not the same, blah, blah, blah. It's similar. It has a similar flavor. But depending on what your Mars is, that will change, the flavor. That will change the recipe. But there's still like it's kind of like you have a recipe and your base sauce is I don't know, tomato, some kind of tomato sauce. This has tomato in it regardless. It has a similar flavor, and the base of it is tomato. So this is the base of this is a Cancer Mars energy, you know, added to whatever Mars you really have. So Mars does not like to be in the fourth house. Mars does not like to be in Cancer. Okay. But depending on where you have it in Cancer, that will change the the flavor even more. So Mars in the fourth house, it is in fall. It is in its fall. It is asleep. It is in its detriment. I don't like to say detriment, but you can say that because I believe any sign that is in an unfavorable position can still, you know, outwork and outperform a sign that is actually in the most favorable position. It's just up to the individual to know that. And there is a gift in having the unfavorable position as well as the curse. It's just you have to realize what that gift is. So, and I like to preface this video with that because a lot of people, they come to astrology, and a lot of astrologers always kind of like give you this doom and gloom because these people are just reading whatever they find online, and most of the time it's doom and gloom. It's one sided. I try to be a little more neutral, a little more objective with it because I believe everybody has the ability to change their direction of their that they're going, and the energies that they're working with. They have the ability to choose the positives and not the negatives, and the ability to work on those things. So if you have this placement, that's this video can possibly help you in finding opportunities to correct any issues that come with this placement. So I don't have this placement, but I do have Mars in Cancer, so I can speak on this a little bit. But what your Mars is going to color in the lines a little more for us. So figure that out and then place it into the fourth house. So what is this? Why is it in fall? Why is it in detriment? Mars is exalted in the zodiac sign of Capricorn. That is the opposite of Cancer. The fourth house is the home of Cancer. Okay, so Mars is exalted as well in the 10th house. So people with Mars in the 10th house, they have an exalted Mars energy as well. So these people are very ambitious, very motivated. The Mars in the 10th house people. Now, Mars in the fourth house people, they tend to be not very ambitious and not very motivated people. Now, as a Mars in Cancer, right? As a Mars in Cancer, with, because we have a similar flavor as the Mars in the fourth house people, I can say that when people, you know, when you hear that, it's a little confusing because as a Mars in Cancer, I would say, I'm extremely motivated. I'm extremely ambitious, but this energy might make people come to you and act like you're not ambitious and, kind of like try to tell you that you're not doing enough and you're not doing this and that and third, and try to almost diminish, not even, almost even look over any accomplishments that you've made, really. And just always think that you're just not doing enough in comparison to them, whatever, and they could be right or they could be wrong. It just depends. You got to be real with yourself. And the reason why they're saying that is this placement, your ambition, your motivation, it is rooted in how you feel, you know and the moon is the ruler of Cancer. The moon is the ruler of the fourth house. So how you feel is affecting your motivations, your ambition, your drive. And that is not a good thing. That is a volatile situation. So people with Mars in Cancer, people with Mars in the fourth house, sometimes um, people with other Mars positions might get frustrated with you because they feel like you're just not getting off of your ass and going after whatever it is that they perceive you need to be going after, because you just simply don't feel like it. It's hard to get these people to do things if they're just not motivated to do them. But does this mean that they're not ambitious people? Does this mean that they're not people that can be successful? It's a complicated question. Um, what you'll realize with this type of energy is that you have the ability to tap into the darker nature of Mars. You have the ability to, and I'll explain that further. You have the ability to tap into areas of Mars that nobody else can tap into, because Mars is basically having a nightmare. It's basically in fall. It's basically gone rogue, and you can tap into that rogue fall dark energy of Mars and tap into almost an insanity that nobody else can, a motivation that's rooted so deeply in your emotions and so passionate that nobody else, people will look at you crazy, and it will it will propel you into achieving things that nobody would ever believe that you could. A good example of this is this individual does not have Mars in Cancer or Mars in the fourth house, but they do have a debilitated Mars. Kobe Bryant, right? He has Mars in Libra. It's not debilitated, but it's kind of like it's away. It's not where it wants to be. Mars and Libra, it's like, why I'm the soldier. Why am I on planet Venus with all these women and all these luxuries, and why am I here? I just want to go to work. And if you ever, if you ever hear anything about Kobe Bryant, if you ever interviews, hear, listen to other players talking about him, coaches, whatever, this guy is one of the most insanely motivated people you'll ever. But his position, Mars and Libra, would tell you no. Would tell you no. This guy has the weakest set of motivation. They would just, if I was just following astrology guidelines, I would just write this guy off like, yeah, least motivated guy in the room. Bullshit. He was the most motivated, and I would say he probably was the most motivated in his generation of basketball players. He was the most motivated to win and the most motivated to improve his skills. He was the most. And why is that? He was able to, and he speaks about it too. He was able to tap into this darkness, this dark motivation. Nobody else could see it, but he could tap it, and it's because it's weird. It's like when you have this placement, it's like And I'm doing this for you guys because I can relate to you guys because I have Mars in Cancer. So it's like, so this video might be longer than the other Mars, sorry, but it might be longer because I'm giving you guys a little extra because, this is personal for me, right? So he's able to tap into this. And the reason why is because this Mars makes you feel so inadequate, so um judged, and it makes you feel like you have something to prove, not just to other people but to yourself, you know pardon me. It makes you feel like you have something to prove, so you have to you feel like you need to tap into, pardon me, yeah, you feel like you need to tap into the darkest part of yourself, you know to get what it is that you want out of this life. And so, and I'll go back to Kobe as one of those examples. The players around him, they didn't understand why he was getting up at like 4 a.m. and going to practice, and would be the last one to leave the gym. They didn't understand it. They was like, they were just happy just being in the NBA. And to him, he was like, if I ever want to be what I want to be, what I want to become, I'm gonna have to do all these things. I'm gonna have to um, work on every single one of these things. And it's not because he thought he was better than everybody. It's that he just couldn't fathom not being the best. He just couldn't fathom being beneath anybody. It's like it comes from a deeper, darker place. It's not arrogance. It's more I refuse to be weak, right? So, um, learn more. I would say research, more stuff about Kobe Bryant. I think that would actually, color this placement into. Um, that's the good side of this placement. The negative side, which I will speak on now, is, just people that are, they lack motivation. How they feel today is going to affect, what they need to do all the time. It's like a roller coaster of emotions. It's like the moon. It's a new moon. One day they're a new moon and they're full of possibilities. Then they're a crescent moon. They're just beginning to fill, and they're like, I don't know about these possibilities. Then they're a quarter moon or whatever they call it. I don't know. And then they're like, yeah, maybe I can do it. And then they're a full moon. And they're like, yeah, I can do it. I'm there. And then they begin to lose that drive as the moon wanes. It's like, can we just be consistent? This placement can be very difficult with that. All right. So that's that. That's the little extra that I wanted to give you guys. And now I'm going to go deeper into, the placement and talk about, specifics rather than giving you this more philosophical understanding of it. I hope you guys enjoyed that part. I just thought that might help somebody, anybody, maybe somebody needs to hear that. But let's now talk more about the placement. Okay, so Mars in the fourth house. The women with this placement, Mars represents the bad boy. So women with this placement, they might be attracted to men. They might be attracted to men that are of the Cancerian nature. Okay, men that are family oriented, men that are more connected to their emotions, men that might be emotionally volatile, men that might be emotionally manipulative, men that might just, mama's boys, or men that have a hard outer shell but have softer insides, like a guy that's a thug, but when you go home, he likes to take care of puppies or he has kittens. It's guys like that. These women are attracted to men like that. Men is the masculine male energy within everybody, but it's the youthful masculine energy. It's not the elder or it's not the adult or the elder. The elder would be kind of like Pluto and Jupiter. Those energies are like more of the elder masculine energies. And then like just the regular adult, like 30s, whatever, that would be like the sun. And then the teenager and the more adolescent energy, this is Mars. That's so that the reason why I refer to this placement as the bad boy for women. These women might go after men like that with this placement, and they think, they found the one, whatever. But um, Mars is it's a passionate sign, so it's like on and off. The fire wanes and it ignites and it wanes, whatever. So oftentimes they'll find out that this wasn't really who they were meant to be with if they were chasing after men with these traits. They might want to look towards their Jupiter, their sun energy, or even their Pluto energy. There's other things to look at too. I would say you could look at your seventh house as well. Um, Jupiter definitely, because that's looking more towards your wisdom. So there's many ways to look at it, and there's some asteroids too that you can look at, but I'm not gonna delve into this. It's gonna make the video way too long. But so that's for women, right? That's the importance to women. Now, I'm not saying that's all that Mars means to women. I'm just saying that's a very important role that Mars plays in a woman's chart. Now, women with this placement, as well as men, they naturally, they lack a consistent level of motivation, or they are insanely motivated people, and they have a very dark place in which they tap into this, where they have a list of people they hate, a list of, what it's like. It can go deep where they can go, because it has to do with their emotions. It has to do, it's water. It holds on to grudges. It holds on, it's like all holds on to pain, memories, all that. That's where their motivation comes from. So people, these people, the men and the women, are like that. um So let's go to men with this placement specifically. Men with Mars in the fourth house, you know, when they were younger, because this is their masculine and their youthful masculine energy, they were very, moody when it came to the, how they approached things, their motivations. It was always based off of their mood, so to their fathers, to their, peers that might have been men, they might have looked at them kind of like they were wimps or just complainers, whiners, people, women, men, they just thought they weren't going to accomplish anything. They might have gotten that type of energy from their peers as, men that weren't, the toughest guy there. Or they could have they could have gotten, the opposite, where their peers thought they were really tough and rugged around the edges, but they knew funny things about them that proved otherwise. But still, they respect their toughness, but they still know, like, you like kittens though, like, yeah, you can beat that guy up, but I saw you petting that kitten the other day and, giving it nicknames and all that. So you have a super soft spot that you're hiding from people. So this is what these men were like in their youth. How these men are now is more like their sun. The sun is the general. The sun is the, that's the light that the Mars follows. Mars is the motivation, and the sun is like, this is how we're going to use that motivation. This is how we're going to shine a light to the world. This is how we're going to, navigate the world now with that motivation that you just gave me. So these men, now how their sun is, that's who they might be now as an adult, and as they get older, they tap into their Jupiter, they tap into their Pluto, they're elder, they're more, older, masculine energies. So Now, if these men are still behaving like their Mars energy, you can probably think, these men are kind of immature. But it's their Mars energy, so eventually they're going to exhibit behaviors from that. It's within them, but it's best for them to not always, when expressing their masculine energy, they don't want to always tap into their Mars. And it'd be best for them to tap into their Sun or their more wise positions rather than their Mars all the time, because they will always be viewed as, utilizing a more immature masculine energy. So, and to go back to women, right? If these women keep dealing with men with that energy, I'm not saying it's going to be doom and gloom. They might just be the type of woman that needs, that bad boy. And so it works out, whatever. But for the most part, I would say it's best to not deal with men that are associated with your Mars, because it is a fleeting night of passion type of energy. It's here for a short time and not a long time. And they will eventually figure that out once they, start really dealing with them for longer periods of time. They'll, things will show up where those men will portray a lot of the negative traits of that sign that their Mars, that they're going to portray negative traits of that sign and negative traits of that house that your Mars represents. Those men are going to portray that. And if you are going after those type of men, most of them are going to portray that. I think that's all I'm going to say about this placement. There's so much I would like to say, but we're at the 20-minute mark. I hope you guys enjoy this video. One love.